Hey, my name's Ayoka, and welcome back to my podcast. Don't mind your business, mind my podcast, Mindelixir. I hope you're having a wonderful and fulfilling day. And if not, then I hope your day gets better or you have an even better week. In this episode, I wanted to talk about self care and stuff kind of on that topic about how sometimes we just need to take a break, because sometimes there's just so much going on. I'm literally recording this on November 1st. So hopefully a new month, new opportunities, all of that. And also, oh yeah, my birthday comes up on November 15th. I'm excited for that. But anyway, let's get into this episode. So often we get caught up in the world, with what's happening, all the events happening, that we forget about ourselves and taking care of ourselves. Maybe you're just getting caught up with all this news, everything going on with the election. We have all that stress. Literally, election day is 2 days away. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared for what's going to happen. Or maybe you're just getting flooded with schoolwork and, the added challenges of learning online or in new and different environments. And I know, like, especially the news online, that can be overwhelming too, especially for me, because every time I go onto the Instagram, I see a new infographic for a new tragedy happening around the world. I swear there's so many problems. Every time I go on Instagram, it's I see an infographic about what's happening in so and so, what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening in Poland, what's happening over here. There's just so many issues and you can't keep track of all of them. And sometimes it's just like some things are out of our control and we need to accept that. I'm not saying that we should give up, but not everything's within our control. But we should learn to work and focus on the areas that are within our control and grow and learn about the parts that we can control, which ourselves, we are in control of ourselves for the most part. So it's important to take care of ourselves, at least to the point that you're able to. It's important to take care of ourselves, which is why I'm talking about self care for this episode. Duh. And sometimes, like I said before, we get so caught up that we just need to take a moment to breathe, to relax, to rest, to do whatever makes us happy. I think it's so important to just show compassion to ourselves in whatever way that means, because balance is important. I mean, yes, there's other things going on in our lives, but we also have to prioritize ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our whatever, because our body cares for us for the best of its ability. So we might as well do the same. And when talking about self care and glowing up and all of that, we actually also need to remember to focus on the long term, because I feel as though that's how we can achieve the permanent or long term sort of glow up type thing. And of course, there's a whole lot of things you can do, from smaller, more minuscule details to more impactful, more bigger sort of things. And it's different for everybody. But I wanted to go over what works for me or what makes me happy. So I think staying connected, that's very important. Even though, there's all this isolation, social isolation. I actually did an episode about loneliness. I think that was the one right before this. I actually did an episode about that. It's still important to stay connected to your loved ones or whoever, whether it's just virtually or in person if you can. Maybe like virtual Zoom birthday parties, those are fun. And even though it may not be the real thing, it's as close to what we can get. And sometimes we just got to adapt. In self care, it doesn't always have to be such a huge investment. You see all these YouTube videos with like the girls, they have some 500 bath bombs and they're like $1,000 glow up. I took myself on a $1,000 glow up video or whatever. But honestly, there's no defined definition of self care. And I know everyone's always talking about you have to do this, you have to do that, but you don't. Oh, so I actually like to use this face mask, this one face mask. I think it's Oh, the Aztec clay face mask. That is so good for my skin. But sometimes whenever it dries, it feels so itchy. Like, I don't know. It just dries on your face and it feels so itchy. And sometimes and it's supposed to be really good for acne prone or oily skin. And then I also like using bath bombs too. Lavender ones, those ones smell so good. And whenever they turn like the bath water purple, that's nice too. I don't know, there's something about colorful bath water. And of course, I love to paint my nails. But let me talk about the other elements of self care and taking care of yourself. So, first of all, social media break or taking a, well, not necessarily a break, but just learning like the boundaries on social media because sometimes there's like just all that toxic news. Well, not necessarily toxic, but news, it can put you in a state of just feeling all of this news coming in. It can make you feel as though you can't help with anything or that everything is out of your control. And sometimes just you just need to take a break from that, unfollow accounts that aren't helping you or unfollowing accounts that you're comparing yourself to or just aren't good for you in general and blocking people that aren't good for you on social media and in real life too. And then for the movement or exercise type thing, just exercising in the morning. I know that exercising in the morning that actually, I don't know, something about it feels so much better than exercising just in the middle of the day. Like if you just wake up in the morning and get straight to exercising. I like to do Chloe Ting's workout because yeah, I think I did the ab workout. Yeah, her ab workouts are really good. Well, a lot of them are. And then there's also some other great people you can follow or you can make up your own. And of course, there's sports, whatever sports you like to do, or you can just do morning stretches and meditation. Oh, yeah, meditation. I'm not really into meditation, but I know some people are. So that might be great for them, just contemplating your thoughts or staying calm, I guess. And then, of course, eating food. Like, I know, so of course, it's important to eat healthy. Make sure what you're putting in your body isn't terrible stuff, but you also want it to be good. Of course, don't make yourself feel guilty for what you're eating. I know some people, they're like, oh man, this is my guilty pleasure or something like that. But no, you shouldn't make yourself feel guilty for eating food. Eat what's good for you and feels good within reason. And then another thing you can do is cleaning and redecorating your room because sometimes that can just make you feel refreshed or whatever. I mean, maybe hanging up some lights because I know it's almost near Christmas. Well, not even near Christmas. Let me not say that. It's just the beginning of November. But you can hang up some lights in your room, redecorating it, rem- moving around the furniture, fixing up your room if it's messy, which mine is kind of messy. Maybe I should do that. And then, of course, for your mind, you can journal. I know some people will actually, I don't know, whenever I journal, I don't really write about my emotions and feelings. But recently, I started doing this thing where I just write down three things that I'm grateful for, except I haven't really been consistent with that. But you can do that if you want to, journaling, because I know that helps a lot of people just getting out their feelings and emotions and how they feel in the day that helps them cope with that. But I usually just write in a diary, how has my day been? What have I been doing? And all of that. And then also another element of self-care, you can just work on your hobbies. For me, that might be crocheting. I recently tried to start crocheting this little top. It's like this 90s two color thing. It has pastel blue and pastel purple. It's so cute, but I haven't even finished it. Or you can do some art. I know art can be so relaxing. Or play your instrument, whatever hobbies you have. And speaking of taking rests and breaks and all those elements of self-care, make sure you actually get sleep because sleep deprivation, that is not great. I mean, cuz sleep, it along with other forms of self love and self care, they can provide a foundation for a better and healthier life. And obviously, it differs what? Obviously, it's different for everyone, but make sure you get good amounts of sleep because I know sometimes some people they don't even get sleep. They're like some people are staying up till like 1 a.m. and stuff. But make sure you get a good amount of sleep because that can help you with other things in life. And of course, since I've talked all about good parts of self care and what you can do for yourself and all of that, I need to talk about the negative side because you know me, I always have to talk about the toxic side of stuff. So, self care, sometimes it can go into the leak into the valley of indulgence and self-indulgence. That's whenever something is like too excessive or super extra, which I know we all love a bit of extraness in our life, a bit of fanciness. But whenever you're doing it to avoid life rather than just taking a break, whenever you're doing this, your forms of self care or taking breaks to just avoid life and parts of it, it becomes a form of procrastination, and that's bad. Neglecting yourself can go in both ways. If you're just doing too much self care, then you're neglecting other components of your life. But if you're only focusing on the work or financial aspects of your life, then you're neglecting yourself. So it goes both ways. Like if you're taking a 2 hour long bath every single night with a whole candle set up, bath 50 million bath bombs or something, that's way too much. That's self indulgence, which is why balance is so important. My dad, he always used to say that too much of everything is bad. And that's so true. I mean, literally, even too much water leads to water toxicity. Too much of some things is worse than others. And remember that, like, your mind, your body, your spirit, they're all interconnected. They're all our home where we reside, including the earth, which we need to focus on taking care of the earth too. Self care and earth care. Um, what was that? Like, we must take care of all of them, but we can't forget to continue going about our regular life, doing our homework or whatever we got to do. Like, don't just skip all of your assignments for school and then tell your teacher, oh, well, I listened to Ayoka's podcast and she said that I needed to practice self care and take time for myself. No. Like, if you're constantly making excuses for yourself, saying it's self care, oh, I need to focus on myself, which it is important to focus on yourself. But if you're just constantly making excuses for yourself in that form, then it becomes a type of self sabotage. And I'm no psychiatrist or scientist. I'm no doctor or licensed professional. But if you're constantly doing all of that, and it goes into the realm of self sabotage, then that's bad because, of course, there's a toxic side to everything, and too much self care is bad, which is why I said balance is important in all aspects and forms and facets of life. Like, whenever your self care turns into a form of procrastination or as a way to avoid your problems, as a way to avoid your schoolwork, that is no bueno. Okay, maybe I should stop adding Spanish into my podcast. That's weird. But I did actually take Spanish for like 2 years or something. So a little bit of spice into here. Now, that pretty much wraps it up for talking about self care. Just remember to focus on yourself, but not in excess or too much indulgence, and doing whatever you like or whatever you like to do. Taking breaks to do what you like to do is important. But I wanted to talk about which direction or how I'd like my podcast to be going or where I see it in the future. I've actually been thinking about how I want my content to be more memorable sort of stuff because I like talking about current events and that, but I realize they don't really stay relevant for a long time. For example, my episode about Anonymous, they went out of style, well, not style, but they didn't even weren't even relevant. They aren't even relevant now. Like everyone stopped talking about them. It may have been good for the week, but that's not really something we can just go back on and be that interested in. I want my episodes to start being something more memorable, which I actually think that's called evergreen content. Someone told me that. Whenever you want it to be. Oh, so it says here an evergreen episode is a podcast episode that's always relevant because it isn't bound by time. It never goes out of date. Someone can listen to an evergreen episode at any time and still get value from it. So, yeah, that's what I want. I want people to take something of value from my podcast episodes. Whether it's just learning a little bit of something or something of this or something like that. And I'm not really sure if there's a specific theme I want, though. I know I want it to be evergreen. I know I want it to be evergreen type content, but I also like talking about activist sort of issues because and social issues because I know I did an episode about internalized misogyny, but I know my episodes as of recently they've been having that motivational speaker type beat, and I'm like, whoa, who is she? Who is she? Wrapping up this episode, I just wanted to mention something else. Self love and self care, they sort of go hand in hand. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. How am I showing myself compassion? Or how have I showed myself compassion this week? Is the time I'm taking for myself taking away from or interfering with me doing other important stuff in my life? And finally, what makes me happy and how can I incorporate that into my life? Thank you for listening to this episode. I totally appreciate you. And follow me on my Instagram and tag me while you're listening to this episode if you want to. And leave a positive, hopefully positive review if you liked it. Bye.